I'm delighted to invite our speaker of the day, Dr. D Doreen Robin, Director of Computational Intelligence Research Foundation. She received her BTech in Information Technology from Madras University, Chennai, ME and PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from Anna University, Chennai.
Her research interests include parallel and distributed computing, peer-to-peer computing, with computing, cloud computing, and big data analysis. Previous positions include professor and head at Loyola Icahn College of Engineering and Technology in the Department of Information Technology, assistant professor at the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, Chennai, teaching research associate at the Department of Computer Science, Anna University, Chennai, and assistant professor at the Department of Information Technology at SSN College of Engineering, Chennai. She has published about 30 papers in international and national journals and conferences. She is a lifetime member of ISTE. She is a reviewer for Computer and Electrical Engineering Journal and Future Generation Computer Science Journal. She has been the resource person for the workshop on digital classroom, big data analytics using Hadoop, data science using Python, machine learning, deep learning, cognitive computing, software testing, blockchain technologies, cybersecurity, and cyber forensics. I now invite our beloved speaker, Dr. D Doreen Robin, ma'am, to share her valuable insights on the topic clustering customer market segmentation. Please, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you all for the warm invite. I once again would like to thank Sairam Engineering College for having invited me to give the talk on the topic clustering. All right, on these. Which day of workshop of FDP you are all into? Yes? Which day is today? Not Monday, Tuesday. What's the day count of the workshop?
Day 3.
Day 3, exactly right. Yes, exactly right. So you're on to your day 3 and hope the previous 2 days would have been useful for you. I could tell the way you come in will not be the way that you go out. This next 2.5 hours will be a to enrich your knowledge. Okay? They say scientifically, if you learn something new in your brain, you get connected. That is called synaptic connections, right? So I would like to share what I know about into the clustering domain. Once again, I would like to thank the chairman and CEO, Sri Sai Prakash Muthu sir, for having invited me to this FTP. A very special thankful note to the principal of Sairam Engineering College, Dr. A. Rajendra Prasad sir. A special note of thanks to Dr. T. Sheila ma'am, the HOD of the Department of Information Technology. A very special thankful note to Dr. G. Adlin ma'am, the coordinator of this virtual FTP on research perspectives on the data science. All right, today we are into day 3. First day, you would have learned about the fundamentals of data science. Yesterday, we were discussing and we were seeing the demonstration of developing classification model. All right. Today, we are going to see in depth about the clustering technology. Okay, about the clustering technology. Tomorrow, you'll be on to regression. So I said, right, 3 domains will be seen: classification, clustering, and regressions. And the final day, you'll be working with image and text analytics for deep neural networks. Okay. So today we are going to see about the general concepts of clustering. Okay. What is clustering and when you should use your clustering? As yesterday, at the end of the session, what we will be having? At the end of the session, what we will have? Answers on chat, please. Quiz. Yes, exactly. We have a live quiz. Yesterday we had a winner. Let's see who will be the winner in today's session. All the questions from the session. All the questions. Very, very simple for MCQ questions. All are under the concept of clustering. Okay. Thank you all for your good answering. So I hope all of you are good today. Yes. You're happy today? How many of you you have attended yesterday's session? Classification session yesterday. Why? If you attend yes or N, you type you're new to this. Yes. Thank you. I want everybody to answer a very, very simple question. Thank you, Kalai Selvi ma'am. Thank you, Celine ma'am. Thank you, Chenni Kumaran sir. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so nice to see you all here again today. Okay, so what is clustering? Okay, you all know about clustering. Clustering is one of the most well-known technique in data science. Yesterday we saw about classification. Okay, especially yesterday we saw about on which domain did we see? You think great when Doreen ma'am comes always, she keeps asking questions. What was the domain on classification we saw yesterday? What kind of application? It's for healthcare analytics in special. Yeah, very good, Vinutha ma'am. Heart disease prediction. So with the text data. Same thing in classification, you can also work with image data also. All right. So heart disease, how to take whether if this particular pattern of data. You remember I told underline this word or you write it and keep it. Both machine learning and deep learning, what do we know? We learn the patterns of the data. Learning the patterns of the data with the, when I speak about classification, I have a target value that is present or absent. The target value could be a binary classifier, or it could be a multi-classifier, or it could be multi-level, multi-label classifiers. Okay. Yesterday, what did we see is the basic concepts of binary classification of a heart disease. All right. So if I see, we have done it. The same algorithm, if you could change the data set into your students' mark list and you have a target. If it is 0, the student is failed. If it is 1, sorry, if it is 0, the student is passed. If 1, if the student failed, the data, the structure is the same. This is what you have to understand. The skeleton of the algorithm is the same. Only the application differs when you feed into a new data set. Okay, so yesterday we were seeing about healthcare analytics, like where you can do classification into climatic sector, education sector, or anything, okay, or any application where you have a sales win or loss, okay, and whether the student will get admitted or not, defining about the patterns of it, okay. You all, because we are all into admissions, right? You can think of developing a prediction model when they come for inquiry. With the data, we could think if by speaking to the parent or some kind of question, we can say this leads will get into admission, this leads are very doubtful, and this they won't. Okay, so for those we have a defined target, we go on for classification. So yesterday itself I said clustering, we don't have a target variable. In clustering technique, we don't have a target variable. Okay, so when you take clustering, we are going to cluster the data, learning the patterns of the data. All right. If you want to do a customer segmentation, how do you segment a customer? To outlayers, what are the data that are out? If you take a transaction, whether it is a fraudulent transaction or fraudulent transaction, okay, there are a lot and different cases and different use cases also. Say, for example, we are all professors. This question I asked you yesterday. Okay, when you take a class, how will you be able to cluster the students? Maybe you can take in regard to academics. Don't think of having a target variable. This person will pass or fail. I'm not asking. That's not my problem definition. You have a set of students of 60 students. I want you to perform a clustering algorithm with regarding to their academic performance. What could be the type of clusters? What could be the clusters? Yes. 3 categories: slow learner, pass, average, and below. Okay. Correct. The answer given by Bharanidharan said, whenever you take any set of students, we have a students who are below average, above average, and average students. Okay. So you can take those kind of students. So when you take a normal data set of a student, think clearly, listen carefully. The problem definition, I'm asking you to cluster the students. Okay. So below average students, and above average students, we can have 3 clusters. Same problem definition, if I'm going to have, whether you're going to predict the student is going to pass or fail, then where you will not be able, you will not use clustering algorithm. What you should use? When you want to predict the student will pass or fail, what kind of algorithm you should use? Classification, correct. When you want to find a student, you're going to do a prediction model, the student will pass or fail, then you have to go in for a classification algorithm. If I want you to see what are the different sets of students into your class, maybe with regard to how they behave with each other, okay, how do they have a friendship with some students, they'll have friendship with everyone. Some students very reserved, only with set of students. Some students, they don't speak with others. Okay, some will be hyper students. What are the kinds of students you have seen? Don't think about the academics, the kinds of students that you have seen. Okay, when you see what are the kinds of teachers you have seen, yeah, friendly, reserved, smart. Yeah, smart students are there. When you want anything, immediately we call a smart student, right? Some are reserved. Okay, when you take teachers to be clustered, there are some teachers. How do you define what kind of teacher you are? What kind of teacher? You are all faculties, right? What kind of faculty? What is your kind that is strict? Surya ma'am, audio visual, smart teacher, Kumunda ma'am, stuffed Bharanidharan sir, mentored Vinutha ma'am, kind Kumudha ma'am. Okay, others. Logical, very nice. Yes, empathetic. Okay, empathy, sympathy, empathy, motivational. Abdul sir, right? Vinitha ma'am, humane, friendly. Others, we have 64 people. Okay, informative. Okay, Gomati ma'am, mentoring. Okay, so if I give the way the teacher behaves, okay, and strict and straightforward, Kartika ma'am, inspirational, very nice, very nice. So if I want to see what kind of teachers are there in your organization, what kind of algorithm should I need to develop? It should be, you can also unmute and speak, or you can have your answers on chat. What kind of algorithm? Clustering. So you're able to understand for what application? Yes, thank you, Surya ma'am. So you're able to understand for what application you should see. This is the best intelligence that as a data scientist you should know. Okay, and say for example, and we could say set of teachers like hard-working teachers. How many of you say you're hard-working teachers? Some of you are hard-working, always working, doing this, doing that. Okay. I don't know whether you're a hardworking teacher. Yes or no? Some teachers, hardly working teachers we have. You know who are hardly working teachers? Like some teachers are hard-working teachers. Some teachers, if you close your eyes, you can see they are hardly working teachers. Okay. And the third set of teachers are smart working teachers. So there are different set of teachers. Yeah, smart working teachers, right? So different types. So for these kind of applications, okay, for these kind of applications, you need to work with clustering technology. So in order to introduce a concept where you should use clustering, classification will have a target, clustering will not have a target. Okay. So now you are able to understand the concept where you're going to use clustering. Okay. So clustering is an extraction of natural grouping of similar data objects. So you have all given me beautiful answers. So what is clustering? It's extraction of natural grouping of similar objects. Can you give any example where you can do a clustering application? Can you give? Okay, when you go to a place where there are different types of people, okay, when Tamil Nadu people, we speak Tamil language, okay. So when you go to Andhra, you take, they speak Telugu, yeah, student results, okay, okay. So, and then when you go to Karnataka, you see people speaking in, so even geographical location, if you want to do an analysis, like Kalai Selvi ma'am said, COVID. India is having every day, you see, right? India's COVID rate, UK COVID rate, France COVID rate. Yes, students coming from different areas. Very good, Surya ma'am. Then you will know from which area the number of students are more. Okay, okay. So for those kind of applications, you will be using. So yesterday itself, we have seen clustering is an unsupervised learning. Okay, why unsupervised learning? In classification, you have a target variable which is called a labeled data set. In clustering, you are not going to have a target. Since you are not having a target, it is called as an unsupervised learning, and it is having an unlabeled data set. Is it clear? Is it clear, this concept? It's an unsupervised. Yeah, product preference, we'll be seeing about it, Kanagavalli ma'am. Yeah. Okay. My tea is getting cold, so I thought I'll have a sip of tea. Okay. Yeah. So it involves automatically discovering. So if you go to a new place, okay, how do you get yourself people group? Say, for example, you go to a different country, and if you see the people of your language, we just communicate and we group together. Yes or no? Yes or no? When we travel to some place, right? When we travel to some place, yeah, we just speak. You know Tamil, okay. Malayalam, okay. You know Hindi. So according to the language, if you know the language and the next person, we are of the same origin. Okay. Whenever we see some people, right, we ask this question: you are from which place? You are from which native? Do you ask the question? Have you ever experienced asking the question, or somebody is asking you the question, which native you are? Yes. They ask you, right? Which is a native place. That is one of the method for classification clustering. Okay, so automatically discovering natural grouping in data. This we do it humanly. Now we are going to train an algorithm to find it out. Okay, unlike supervised learning, okay, which is a predictive model, it only interprets the input data, and here you're going to find what are the natural groups or clusters in feature space. Able to understand? In classification, we are focusing along with the labeled data, that is along with the target. Here I'm going to take all my inputs, all the data of input, and within my set of inputs onto my feature space, I'm going to cluster the groups. Okay, I'm going to cluster the group. Clustering technique is commonly used for statistical data analysis. If you want to do statistical data analysis, then mostly you can use, because you're learning patterns from the data. Here in clustering, I'm repeating it, you're not having a target variable. It is an unlabeled data, and the technique is an unsupervised learning. Able to understand till now? You're going to the entire input data. Okay, so it applies where there is no classes to be predicted. Okay, when you have a data set whether there is no class to be predicted, okay, then you'll be using, when you take into a marketing, okay, the marketing system, the admission process, okay, how many of them will buy this product or not? Okay, so for that kind, we'll be using clustering techniques where there is no classes to be predicted. Wherein yesterday we had a disease data set, all right, wherein we had a target. That is a prediction variable or the target variable. Here you don't have target. In clustering concept, you don't have a target, but rather from the values onto the feature space, that is the data, we are going to naturally group. Okay, so generally it is used to process meaningful structures. Okay, explanatory underlying process. Okay, generative features, grouping inheritance in a set of examples. Okay, how many of you have bought some products in Amazon or in Flipkart? What is the latest product that you bought on Amazon or Flipkart? What's the latest product? I hope everybody would have bought something. Yes. Groceries, yeah, ma'am. Clothes, Vinata, ma'am. Kartika, ma'am. Okay. So, have you ever experienced when you go and open a product when you want to buy an Amazon or Tanzo, or you take what it is, Flipkart? When you take a mobile, okay, say for example, Dinakaran sir wants to buy a mobile, or Kumuda ma'am, when you see a mobile, have you ever seen customer who viewed this product, viewed this product also? Have you seen it? Yes or no? When you are going to search for a product, yeah, there, what kind of algorithm works? It's a recommendation system. Okay, learning the patterns of the previous person, what pattern of data, what kind of, say for example, if you want to invest like 20,000 for a mobile, what are the different variants of 20,000 of mobile will be done, learning the patterns by the clicks made by the different customers onto a particular product. What happens here? It clusters according to it. Able to understand? Okay, thank you. So clustering is the task. So it naturally groups it. Once it groups it, when you are going to find a search for it, from the grouping, it's showing these are the this is the range that you want to, this is the features you know. There are other things. Yeah, frequent patterns. Exactly right. All right. Okay. And it keeps updating every time when a customer takes, and it learns the patterns and then it occupies us. Okay. So clustering is the task of dividing the populations into a number of groups such as data points into the same domains. Okay, it's collection of objects on basis of similarities and dissimilarities between them. The best example, the online shopping. Okay, what it's collection of similar objects. Okay, if it is a similar objects, then you get collected. Not similar objects, then that doesn't. If you want to buy a product of 20,000, and if it is going to show you a product of like 70 or 80,000, we will not even click into it. Okay, so only similarity between the objects will be done. So the data points in the graph below are grouped and clustered together into a single group. So we can see there how many types of groups of data are there. 3 data. So I'll take my data set, I'll host it onto my full feature space. Okay, from the feature space, I have to compute different algorithms. Today we are going to see the list of algorithms available in clustering, because you need to be very, very minute in understanding what type of clustering algorithm for what type of applications. So many, I've taken a few of the clustering methods. All right. Okay. And then you can see this could be clustered. This could, the more challenging task. If I'm going to make a Centroid based algorithm, if it is like, I hope most of you would have heard about k-means algorithm, yes or no? Okay, have you heard or you have taught? Yes, k-means. So in k-means algorithm, what's the most challenging task? Defining the value for k. How many clusters? Yes, Vinitham, defining the value of k. Okay, so we can distinguish and we can see here 3 clusters. Okay, so a cluster is often an area of density in the feature space. There are density-based clustering, centroid-based clustering, distribution-based clustering, okay, fuzzy-based clustering, mean shift, different types of clustering. It's often an area of density in which the feature spaces, okay, from the domain which are closer to the cluster. Okay, so the cluster may have a center that's called a centroid. So that is a sample or point which may have a boundary or extent. So you have a centroid. Okay, in the centroid you have a, that's the sample or a feature space that have a boundary or extent to it. Okay, so a cluster, which means a domain that is closer to the cluster head. Say for example, here are most of your college staff. Every college you have a set of departments. So for a department, who's the centroid of your department? Who's the center? The cluster may have a, yes, HOD. So the HOD is the cluster head, under which you have a set of faculties, and each faculties will have set of students accordingly. So when you get your results, okay, so as a college, the principal, what does he expect? Principal will, when you are getting your results on the day, what would be the work of, what would be the expectation of principal on the day of results? Examination results. You would like to know the all clear students list, yes. So immediately on the day of result, okay, what would be the work of HOD? So the next, that's a header, and next the cluster head will be the HODs. Immediately HODs will have like 3 or 4 years staff, 4 years of students. For every year you will have faculty advisors. Immediately the faculty advisors or the class teachers or the staff who's in charge will collect the results, do the analysis of each and every. Say for example, if it is IT department, first year, second year, third year, fourth year staff will work and report to the HOD. HOD will report to the principal, and at the principal office all the departments results will be merged and they will be getting that pass percent of the college. Here, what is the concept that is appearing here is the clustering. You understand? So how it works, okay? Clustering can be helpful as a data analysis activity. The best example, the result analysis. How many of you have experienced result analysis? Yes, no? See, some of us would have been beginning as a teacher, and then you should have promoted as associate professor, then you should have become a professor and an HOD, and some of you would be principals. Yes, you all would have experienced result analysis, right? So at every type of work, we have lifted different works, right? When I had become, once I was a faculty advisor, only for Methodist students, immediately we have to process it, and then as 2 faculty advisors, we merge the results, we go and report to the HOD for every year, and there will be a coordinator who HOD will merge all the results, and then they push it out to the principal. So this is clustering can be helpful for data analysis. You want to learn about the problem domain, and the most challenging, which department has got the lowest pass percentage, is the most difficult question. So that and all will be able to answer it, knowing the pattern discovery or knowledge discovery. Okay. Phylogenetic tree. How many of you? I'll show you how a phylogenetic tree to be considered as a result of manual clustering. And when you do clustering, separating normal data from outliers or anomalies that can be considered. So when you take a department, students who pass, fail, okay, those kind of clustering. Okay, separated clustering based on natural behavior. This is a clustering problem. So today we are going to see the core structure of clustering. Okay, the core structures of clustering, and then we are going to get into the customer, how we are going to do a customer segmentation in a MAR. Okay, so this is a phylogenetic tree. Okay, some biology people will know about it. Okay, so clustering can be a very useful for feature engineering. Okay, you want to know about feature engineering, a set of features. Yesterday we saw about, how many of you remember? We saw about feature extraction and feature selection. Okay, clustering can be useful as a type of feature engineering, whether existing or new examples could be mapped belonging to one of the identified clusters. Okay, so evaluation of identified clusters is subjective and may require a domain expert. Okay. But typically compared academically on the synthetic data with predefined data, where an algorithm is expected to discover the features which are of importance. Okay, important features. Clustering can be used as a type of feature engineering. Okay, when you take a data set, we take the features, extract the features, then the output of it you can feed into your classification algorithm or regression. So I said supervised learning will have a target. See, here it is a binary classification or multi-classification. Yes. Binary classification or multi-classification. Answers on chat. YouTube viewers, you can post your chat, the answers on. Yeah, multi-classification. Thank you. So it's 3. But here, the same data set with a target variable, I'm doing a clustering, which is unsupervised, wherein I repeat it in clustering, you don't have a target variable. You don't have a target variable. Okay. So happy to get good responses, fast responses. Thank you. What? Data sometimes, okay, if you want to perform a data set, okay, you want to get a data set and you're not getting, but you know the minimum and the maximum value, okay, and wherein you want to generate a data set, you can randomize the value between the minimum and the maximum, and you could generate your own data set. Okay, benchmark data set are data collected from live experiments. Okay, Vinitha ma'am. For some applications, if they don't get a data set, if we know what could be the range, if I want to have a data set with the age analysis, maybe between 10 to 60 or 70, okay, and then the range for anything. Okay, this would be the spending score. This could be the this could be their annual income. The minimum and maximum age, minimum and maximum value I can give, and how many rows and columns I need to have. I can check it out and generate the data set. But I would say only if you take a data from benchmark data are more valid. Is it clear? Okay. So how do you do clustering on the real? Yes, yes, ma'am. If multiple, yeah, according to the features and the boundary of it, yeah, you can access open access. You have open access of data sets. Yes, I'll let you know. Okay, you can contact me. I'll tell you how to go and fetch the data sets. But today's talk, we are going to see about the clustering. Okay, so identify the potential customer for selling the product. Okay, you have to find the target people whom you should go and find. Implement clustering algorithms to groups, to the grouping to the customer base, and selling the product to the identified customer group. In marketing, this is the most difficult task, to find the correct set of people to go and speak to them or go and reach the product. Okay, if I have a product, I need to be very clear to whom I should go, to whom I should reach, to whom, where there is a need, the product should be reached. Say, for example, I said July 7, 8, and 9, I'm having a LabTech workshop for how do you write technical journals, right? If you want to write an IEEE journal, ACM journal, or any journals, just if you change the document class, then the entire set changes and you don't have any confusions in mapping the bibliographics with reference. It is automated. Once you know how to generate a LaTeX, it takes time, few minutes, a few days. Once you get used to it, then it's easy to do it. Okay, I'm going to host a workshop on LaTeX this July 7, 8, and 9. I should know to whom I should reach. Okay, it's not a general advertisement. So clustering and implementing according to the customer, who's the need. If it reaches, then the marketing will be good. It is for all kind of applications. Clustering determines the intrinsic group among the unlabeled data. Okay, there is no, you cannot say this is a good clustering, this is not a good clustering. There are many clustering algorithms. Okay, which criteria the user is going to be satisfied? I repeat it. I'm going to show you a set of algorithms today. To the best of my knowledge, for each algorithm, what are the applications are also, I'm going to share it with you today. But it needs your intelligence. That's what I cannot say. See, yesterday I could say, which algorithm has got the highest accuracy is the best algorithm, is the best classification. Oh my God. Not fine. I think somebody is traveling and listening to this talk. Okay. No problem. Okay. Am I audible? Yes. I hope I'm audible. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So there is no criteria, but I have some performance metrics. I will show about that to you. But you cannot say this according to the user specification. We'll be able to know. For instance, okay, if you are interested to finding representatives for homogeneous groups, okay, and generally we find, what do they say? Class representatives. Okay, who make them as a cluster head. Okay. Finding natural clusters, describing their unknown properties, finding usable and suitable grouping. Okay, sometimes we always have a set of students, right? If you want some work to be, thank you. If you want some work to be done, we know as faculty, this student will complete this work. Okay, so accordingly, make similarity points between them, and you make it as a valid cluster. You find when we speak with people, once they are of a good wavelength, even I know a lot of groups will be there between faculties in college because it's a faculty development program. Yes, how it happens? By naturally grouping. Whom do we like? Whom do you don't like? Okay. So what are the applications in different field? Marketing. Okay, discovering this customer segment for marketing purpose. Okay, biological for classification. I showed you, right? Phylogenetical tree. Okay, different species. You all should have remembered in 6th standard when we learned about different phylums, the structure of it. Okay, and libraries. Okay, based on books. Okay, insurance. Okay, we do get a call, right? Do you want insurance? Do you want to have a loan? Okay, so it acknowledges the customer, their policy, and identifies. Okay, city planning. How do you want to group it according to the geographical locations where a lot of earthquake studies, okay, which are the dangerous zone, okay, also for those kind of applications we can use. The very first, the basic application is C, and then we move on into the other applications. Whether you're able to understand what we have discussed till now, whether you are able to understand. Yes, thank you, Vinitha ma'am. Others? Yes, thank you, Rashid sir. Okay. So K means it's one of the simplest unsupervised learning algorithm. Okay, here we say it K-means algorithm comes under a centroid-based algorithm, or you can say it is a partition-based algorithm. Okay, centroid-based or partition-based. Okay, so here we partition in observations. Okay, in observations into K clusters. As rightly said by most of you, determining the value of K is the most challenging task in K-means. Once that is done, everything is done. Okay, we will also going to see what is the methodology that you're going to use to find the correct value of K. Okay, so where each observation belongs to a cluster with the nearest mean. Okay, you find it basically with the distance between. So if I want to define a point, it has x and y. If I have point 1, point 2, x1, y1, x2, y2, the distance between 2 points. Then if it is nearer, it goes to a cluster. If it is farther, so how it is from a centroid to the list of clusters. Okay, from the centroid to the set of points. All right. So the distance could be Euclidean distance, okay, Manhattan distance, or Minkowski distance. Whatever the distance, these distance you should have learned it. All right. So whatever is the distance, that we'll be able to use it. Okay. So here I have how many clusters? 3 clusters. Just partitioning it. Okay. So this is one of the very, very basic algorithm of K-means. What are the different clustering methodologies? Okay. Density-based methods, hierarchical-based methods of clustering, partitioning methods, grid-based method, and distribution-based method. So today we are going to see about the 3 types of clustering methods: density-based, hierarchical-based, partition-based, okay, grid-based method, and distribution-based method. Okay. Have anybody worked on any of these algorithms? Yes, no? Okay. What kind of algorithm anybody has worked? No. Okay. So first we'll start with density method. Okay. Density method. Okay. As most of you are saying no, we'll see one by one and listen carefully. This is the most important thing in clustering, because in classification we have a target value, we've got a lot of performance metrics, the basic accuracy I can say this model fits best for that. But here you need a high intelligence factor to find which clustering algorithm. First we should know for what problem definition, what for this application, what kind of technology to use. Because I know I said yesterday itself in my company CIRF, I have research scholars. They come sometimes back, they have something, but they don't know. So mapping it work, we do it for you, and I generally give them the training and they develop the algorithm. So I don't develop for them, and when they get the errors, I help them out. In our company, we help them out in debugging. Okay, this is more important as a researcher or as a faculty or whatever it is. Okay, for a particular application, what is the technology? In that technology, what is the proper algorithm that you should use? Once that chaining is done, then most of the problem is solved. Okay, when you take into density based, the word itself defines it as density. Okay, so these method consider a dense region having similar and difference from the low dense space. Okay, so I said you the example, basically the geographical. Okay, when you go to a new place, when you know people of the same language, they group together. Okay, dense region they have similar features, or they are able to communicate faster. Okay, this method have a very good accuracy and ability to merge two clusters. Okay, they have an ability also to merge. When I take a data set, then I'm going to visualize wherever the places are dense, that could be my clusters. All right, I can have a high cluster, dense region, and with the low dense region. All right, and also the main feature in this algorithm is that here you will be able to merge also. Okay, so the first, there are many algorithms, just taking simple algorithm, right? DB scan. Okay, DB scan, it stands for density based spatial clustering of applications with noise. What does DB scan stands for? Density based. According to the density based spatial clustering of applications with noise. I had one research scholar, she's working on the geospatial data sets. Okay, I cannot tell, I don't share it also. There are different researchers they work on with that. So where we work with geospatial data set. Okay, so density based spatial clustering of applications with noise. What is optics? Optics is ordering points to identify clustering structures. Okay, these are one of the two examples of density-based methods of clustering. So, where we require non-linear clustering. Non-linear, you cannot say always it is spherical. Okay, this cluster, it could be spatially also. Okay, so don't think clusters could be only of a spherical, of a circle kind of shape. It could be of any shape. Here, you take non-linear cluster structures. Purely, it is based on density. Okay, one of the way how this principle is made into reality. Okay, we are going to see about this. Okay, there are two underlying concepts when you take DB scan. Today, I'm going to show you with one data set all these algorithms. Okay, that then you'll be able to understand more better about it. Okay, two major underlying concepts in DB scans. First is density reachability. Second concept is density connectivity. As the word says, the first method is density-based method. So density reachability and density connectivity. So this algorithm differentiates separate regions with varying degree of density. It's not distance. Here it is density. Okay. So if you want to implement DB scan, you have to have two parameters. What are the two parameters? One is the radius parameter and minimum number of points within the radius. Okay, so can you see in this graph? So not in this graph, in this. Okay, there is a point, that is the core point. This is the radius. Can you see here the point? So this is the radius. Radius is named as epsilon. So radius parameter is epsilon, and the minimum number of points within the radius. Okay, minimum number of points is 5. Okay, minimum number of points is 5. So taking the minimum points and what is the epsilon value? Okay, so with these two parameters define my DB scan. Okay, define my DB scan. So it starts with random number of points. Okay, that is not accessible and it's marked as epsilon. If it contains m minimum points, okay, m minimum points, then the cluster formation begins as visited. Then it is labeled as noise. Okay, which can get changed also later. Okay, first I'm just taking random data points, okay, that we have not accessed. Then if this contains m minimum points, then cluster formation. When it is getting m, the density, whether with an epsilon and the other parameter I said, right, the minimum points. Once that is done, then it's marked as marking, and if not, then it is labeled as noise, visited or noise. Okay, then it keeps changing. So this is an example for 3 clusters. Can you see more dense one cluster? Yes, can you see here? Yes. Okay. So if the next point belongs to this cluster, then subsequently the epsilon neighborhood around this point became the part of the cluster. So this process is an iteration process, it repeats until then they can follow density reachability and density connectivity. Once this loop is exited, it moves to the next unvisited data points. So it converges until you have no more unvisited data points. Visited, or you're going to have it as not labeled. Okay, if it is marked, it's visited or not. Once you keep moving on with these two parameters, the radius parameter, minimum number of points within the radius, and at one point we know what is the density, connectivity, and density reachability, and there is all set of data points which is unvisited, which are all are visited. Then it comes to the end of your algorithm. Okay. So it does not require prior specification of clusters. It can easily deal with noise. Even if you have got noisy data, it's not affected by outliers. Okay, there's no strict shapes. That's what I said. We always see clusters will be of shapes. It does not. It can accommodate many data points. Okay, but it can. But where you cannot use density, listen carefully. Where you cannot use density-based algorithm is that when your data set has varying densities. Once your data set has set of density values more, then you can ask. Once I will also tell you when you don't have when you have various density, what algorithm should be used. Okay. Sensitive to the clustering hyperparameter, the epsilon and the minimum points. Okay. If the data is too sparse, then you cannot see. When that's what very important when you do a machine learning algorithm, you should definitely, before computing it, you need to do the exploratory data analysis. Remember yesterday we did? Yes, plotting the clans, the scatter plots, the pair plots, which will tell how the data points have been spread out. Okay, the density measures can be affected by sampling. Okay, here when you can use DB scan. Okay, when you can use DB scan, you can use it for documents network analysis, for identifying plagiarisms. And how many of you have used plagiarisms? Most of your doctors here. I hope everybody should use plagiarisms. Yes. How many of you use plagiarism software for a PhD thesis or your guides? Yes? Yes, no? Yes, thank you, Akila ma'am. Yes, 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 most of you have used it. So, wherein there your density algorithm works, okay? While used for recommendation system for e-commerce application. So, dense people see the same mobile of the range, then it is showing to you. And is also used for X-ray crystallography to categorize the protein structure of certain proteins, okay, in the strands. And also DB scan can be used in social networking analysis, okay, cluster based on object linkage rather than similarities. Okay, you use like social networking, right? Lot of things. Okay, even I've given a talk on Twitter, the sentimental and different. How do you find the similarities of it? Okay, here it's not with the similarities here, but the object linkage. Okay, based on the object linkage. Okay, are you able to understand about DB density based method? Yes, at least the concept of it. Yes, no? Okay, thank you. The next method that we are going to go is the hierarchical based methods. Okay, so this hierarchical clusters are formed a type of trees. The best example, principal, different set of HODs, under HODs, different set of faculty members, under every faculty members, different set of students. Okay, new clusters are formed using the previous formed ones. Okay, it is divided into new clusters are formed from the previous formed ones. Okay, when you come, there are two things: agglomerative approach and divisive. Okay, so what is agglomerative? Bottom up. Okay, the next hierarchical based clustering is divisive, that is top down approach. Okay, when you want to get the result analysis, now you get it right in, but I don't know how do you get. It's like 4 to 5 years I'm out of college. Sometimes I take only some courses for college. Okay, so we need to get it from the students. Okay, then the students marks will be updated by the faculty advisor, then it goes to the HOD, then it goes to the principal. What kind of approach it is? Agglomerative or divisive clustering? A or D? Your result analysis. Yes, A, agglomerative. Say for example, I want to pass on an information. Okay, the college is taking a decision that this Saturday will be a holiday. Then the information passes from the principal to the HODs, from the HODs to the set of faculties in their department, from the faculties it goes to the students. Exactly, it is divisive approach. Okay, so the examples of we are going to see for the same customer market segmentation, I will show you DB scan. I will show for the demo section, I will show you hierarchical also. Okay, CURE is clustering using representatives. Okay, BIRCH, balanced iterative reducing cluster and using hierarchies. So you are going to use agglomerative or divisive approach. Okay. Yes, any doubts? The mic is on unknowingly. Okay, I muted. Okay. No problem. So when it is bottom up and divisive. Okay. Okay. Agglomerative is bottom-up approach, divisive is top-down approach. Okay. So here, when you work with agglomerative, you start with the leaf node, go to the root. When you're going to divisive, it is from the root to the leaf. Here they say as AGNES, Agnes, or when you use divisive, it could be called as Diana. Okay. So when you use Diana or divisive approach, it starts from one clustering and then splits into it, and here and the data points are reassigned to each cluster. This nearest distance of the pairwise distance between the data points. Okay, when you want to find the linkage distance, they use a VAR distance or the centroid distance, average linkage, the complete linkage, or single linkage. Okay, so they find until each data has a own cluster. Able to understand? In Diana or divisive, you have your head principal, okay, the HODs, the faculty members, and every student will be a cluster. Each and every student. This algorithm continues until each data has its own cluster. It is your top-down approach. Okay. And the next is agglomerative, bottom-up approach. Each data points has its own cluster. Then it becomes within initial clusters. They find similar groups. They measure the distance as they measure in Diana. Okay, divisive, I told you, right? Different measures, and they combine until they make one large cluster. Okay, until they're left with one huge large cluster. Okay, so here in hierarchical, no prior knowledge about the number of clusters is needed, because either you're going to have in agglomerative or one cluster, the only two points. Okay, so it's easy to do it. Okay, it's easy to do it. The disadvantage is that they are very strict. Once performed, it cannot be undone. Okay, and the complexity, and you cannot handle outliers of data or noisy. Where you can use outliers and noisy data for DB, for the density based approach. Okay, where you can use this, we can use this for DNA sequencing. When you want to sequence your DNA to analyze the evolutionary history and relationship among the biological entities, you know, we learn till the end, right? Okay, we should have all learned in 12th biology or some different, I forgot some questions we learned with branching till the end. So for DNA sequencing, okay, here, then for those kind of application, you should use a hierarchical clustering. Identifying fake news by clustering the news articles. We assign tokens to the words, and suspicious and sensational words wherein used. Even when you take Twitter, we break it out into all the words, and then from the words we find it out, a bag of words concept. Okay, personalization and targeting in marketing sales. Okay, that incoming network traffic in a website by classifying the HTTP request and find whether it is problematic. Some websites, they get hacked. Okay, so this is a simple the phylogenetic tree. Okay, so how many algorithms we have completed till now? Answers on chat. Yeah, two. What are they? One is density based. All right. The second, what we have seen is hierarchical clustering. In density based clustering, Yes, density based, there you can use with data with noise and you'll be able to handle outliers. But when you come to hierarchical, either you have one large cluster or every data point has a cluster. It is used for DNA sequencing, and here you cannot handle noise or outliers. Is it clear? Yes or no, these two algorithms? So according to the type of application, you need to use your clustering algorithm. Yes. Can we move on to the next concept? Why, ma'am? Simply asking question. Okay, whenever we are live sessions, right? We speak face to face, and I think this is one method to get interacted with people around the world whenever you come into. I think this could be more than 70th webinar after this. Okay, so in density-based clustering, it depends on the density. And your data set, if it is more sparse, you should not use density based. But in density based approach, you can handle noises and outliers. Okay, when you come to hierarchical, it depends on the application. If you want to go for DNA sequencing, definitely you need to go on for hierarchical clustering, where either agglomerative, the bottom up approach, or divisive, the top down approach. When you go top down approach, every data set became a cluster. Then either you have every data point as a cluster or you have one large cluster. Here you don't have any challenges in defining the number of clusters, but when you use the hierarchical method, listen carefully, you cannot handle noises in data, you cannot handle outliers in data. You should be very intelligent in applying for what kind of application, what algorithm. Okay, now moving on to the very simple. I said already we have discussed about it earlier also. Okay, when I started with the unsupervised learning, I started with this one. Okay, this is called a centroid based clustering or partition based clustering. First we had density. Remember, we saw about epsilon, the minimum distance. Okay, so those parameters were there, the density, how it is connected. Okay, here it is based on centroid. We're going to partition the objects into K clusters. The best example is K-means, where everybody would have experienced, or you should have even taught it to the students. And also I tell the faculties, whenever you teach, even a theory paper, right, you do a demonstration to students in the classroom. Whenever I do teach, I always make it. Okay, even if I take a computer, cryptography, network security, or any, not all, a part of it. I always advise the faculties, when you show a demo, you also learn something. And the students, I always give a practical assignment wherein the students, a group of students will take any open source software, just show a demo of it, where they'll be able to know more. Only if you teach theoretically, there won't be more impact onto the students. And we also learn a lot. So if you are interested, maybe from this semester onwards, do a simple demo of 1 or 2 applications on with reference to your subject that you teach. Okay, these methods partition objects into K clusters, and each partition forms one cluster. Okay, it is to be optimized on objective criteria. Okay, here the distance is the major parameter. Okay, how do you find the distance? And here there are many examples of clustering. K means, Clarence means, it stands for clustering large application based upon randomized search. Clustering large application based upon randomized search. Okay, so here when you take centroid, the most efficient way of creating and assigning points to it. Here it is characterized by a central vector. How it is done? We have a central vector and data points. Okay, so those are close proximate to this vectors are assigned to the respective clusters. Okay, so here again it is iteratively moving one by one using the distance metric. When you take data points, they are merged. If you take 2 axes, x-axis and y-axis, the data set will be there. Initially, there will be two centroids randomized, and calculating the distance between it, the centroids keep changing. The values will move between clusters at one point of the iteration where there is no movement of members from one cluster to the another cluster. That defines the stopping criteria for your algorithm. Okay, if you take x and y, you have set of points. Okay, you will have a set of points. I don't know whether I get, I don't, whiteboard. No. Okay. I'll try to open the Jamboard. Some of you would have worked, for some it will be new. Yeah, distance measures as Euclidean distance, Manhattan distance, thank you, Rekha ma'am, and Minkowski distance. Okay. So, what happens when you take, you can do, I'm today I will show you a two-dimensional value for a clustering and also for a three-dimensional value. Okay, how k-means will work for a 2D and also for 3D. Yeah, I'll open a new frame. Say for example, I am x-axis and y-axis. Okay, and I'm going to have different points. Okay, on to my x and to my y. Okay, initially I'm just marking it out. Okay, there are different points. Okay, say for example, if I'm going to have a centroid head, it's not moving. Why is it moving? Okay, I'll again draw one. Okay, I'm going to fill one with red and blue and the other with red. So initially the centroid points could be at any place. Okay, initially they could be at any place. Okay, so they could be here, they could be here somewhere. Okay, for every iteration they keep moving. Okay, this will move here, and every iteration they keep moving. At one point of the time, a member will not move from one cluster to the other cluster. Okay, initially they'll be moving between each because they'll be into different places. At one point, these two don't, the centroids also will not change, the points also will not move. That defines your endpoint of your algorithm. Okay, then which means this will become one cluster and this will become the next cluster. Able to understand? So k means you start with different points onto your x and different points onto your y. Okay, the centroids will be at random point and making the distance between the centroids between the members of the group. Between the members of the group, the iteration will keep processing on and on. At one point of time, there will be no shifting of members from one cluster to the other, and the centroid elements that defines your end of your algorithm. Okay, that defines your end of the algorithm. Yeah, these distance could be an Euclidean distance. Okay, a Manhattan distance. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Manhattan distance and Minkowski distance. Okay, okay. So using this, you find the distance between them. So you find the distance, and here. All right. The The major setback is that how do you find the number of clusters? To find the number of clusters, we use a method called as elbow method. And also I'll show you how to do the elbow visualizer. Okay. So the biggest problem I told already, and most of you will know about it, determining the value of cluster. So it is based on a centroid. Okay. It is based on a centroid and the distance between the point to the members of the cluster. From the centroid to the members of the cluster. Okay, so which is minimum value will be taken. Say for example, if this value is minimum and this value is minimum. So if I take these 2 points, they are more closer. But when you take the value, the minimum value of both, which you get to that cluster, it will be the same. Okay, where you can apply k-means. It can be applied to any form of data as long as the data has numerical continuous entities. Okay, it's one of the fastest algorithm in comparison with any other algorithm. That is what in all our syllabus are first the k-means algorithm. It's easy to understand and you can interpret it. Fails for non-linear data. I showed you what you have to use it for non-linear data. You remember for which algorithm I said you can use it for non-linear data? Okay. Yes, do you remember? You can also, where here in density based, where we require non-linear cluster centers. Okay, here we use non-linear cluster centers. But here, when you come into the k-means algorithm, it fails for non-linear data. Once you have a non-linear data, you have to use that kind of a clustering algorithm. Okay. So when you use non-linear algorithm for this, then it fails. Okay. It requires us to decide upon the number of clusters before we start the algorithm. Okay. And also the user needs to use additional mathematical to find whether it is correctness. I will show you the Silhouette scores and the interdistance measure. Those are the two metrics to check it for your k-means algorithm. And this cannot work for categorical value. It cannot handle outliers. Okay, k-means cannot handle outliers also. Able to understand the partition based question? Okay. Yes, thank you, Kumudha ma'am. Yeah, if you want to do a document clustering, okay, TEF, IDF, I know term frequency, inverse document frequency, TTF, there you can use your k-means or centroid based clustering. Okay, banking and insurance fraud detection. The distance measure, you can find where majority columns represents a financial figure. Okay, for segmenting an image, okay, even when you're free, you can see to my YouTube channel. I've given to how to process with images, okay, and how to do a segmentation with set of images. Customer segmentation. Today we are seeing about customer segmentation, right? So I will be using k-means, and for the same data set I'm trying to use, I will be showing a demonstration for all the method of an algorithm that we have seen. Okay. So according to application, you need to use it. So we have completed 3 algorithms. So first is density-based algorithm. The second is hierarchical clustering. The third we have seen is a partition-based or centroid-based, in which we have seen an example about k-means algorithm. Okay, is it clear? Any doubts till now? At least a theoretical part of it. At least a theoretical part of it. Some of you would have worked, for some it will new. Thank you. Others? Yes, thank you, Surya ma'am. Thank you. Gomati ma'am. So we have seen 3 types of. Thank you, Nirupa ma'am. Thank you, Andrea ma'am. Clear, Baranidharan sir. Thank you, Lakshmi ma'am. All right. All right. Thank you. Okay. So the next method is grid-based. Here, what they do, the data is formatted in finite number of cells. They make a grid-like structure. Okay, all operations are done on these grids. Fast and independent of, they are fast and they are independent of the number of data objects. They are independent of the data objects. For example, this thing, statistical information grid, the wave clusters, and click. Clustering in quest. Okay, these are the method of grid-based. Grid, if you want entire data set, it is converted into a grid and all the computations are done inside the grid. Okay, mean shift. Today I'll show you the demonstration of mean shift clustering. It is a form of non-parametric clustering approach. It not only eliminates the need for a priori specification of the number of clusters, but also what mean shift does, it removes the spatial and shape constraint of the clusters. Okay, you don't need to have, I said right in the first when I said density based also, you should not think clustering is only a kind of oval shape, a circle shape. No, for us it depends on the application, depends on the features, the importance of the features, what measure, what linkage, or the density connectivitiness, or the minimum distance, whatever you're going to use, according to only the clustering beta. Okay, here also it also removes the spatial and shape constraint. When you take mean shift clustering, okay, it removes it. The two major problems of k-means. When problem of k-means, a cluster will be of one particular shape because it's taking with the distance, and it's here when you use mean shift clustering algorithm, it removes the spatial. It removes, what do I say? It removes the spatial and shape constraint. It's a density based clustering. What first it does? First, it seeks for stationary points in the density function. What are the stationary points? Okay, then next the clusters are eventually shifted to a new region with higher density. Okay, by shifting the center to the mean of the position. So I'm shifting my cluster head to the mean of the points present in the current window. Able to understand? I'm repeating it, I'm shifting the cluster head. I'm shifting the cluster head from the center to the mean of the points. The shift, if the shift is repeated until no more points could be accommodated inside the window. Okay, so that is a mean shift clustering. I'm taking the mean of the variable and I'm shifting it up. Okay, I'm shifting it up. Okay, mean, and it is getting shifted. Okay, this is a classification of images. Okay, non-parametric, a number of clusters need not be specified. Owing to the density dependency, the shape of the cluster is not limited to circular or spherical. It is not limited in mean shift. It's more robust, more practical. You can work with any form of data and you can easily interpret about the data. Okay, the selection of the window radius is highly arbitrary and cannot be related to any business logic. If you do a incorrect size of the window, then it is not a desirable thing. So here we need to apply our intelligence in defining the size of the window, So what are the types of algorithms and where you can use it? If you want to do an image segmentation, using computer vision, handwriting, text identification, image tracking. I don't know, anybody, have you worked in video analysis? I know people work on text analysis, image analysis. You need to have data set and you need to know how to work it on. Okay, maybe in the end of July or August, we will have a 3-day workshop of taking a data set with hands-on. If anybody are interested, you can check out the website. And also at the CIRF, I provide for faculties 20 hours machine learning course where they learn inbuilt. I take very, very minimum number of faculties. For research scholars, we do it like one-to-one because your problem definition should not be known for others. Okay, this 20 hours, when you learn, you will have full hands-on experience. Some of them who are doing the 20 hours course are also attending this session. They know about it. Okay. Anybody here listening to this lecture today, have you worked on video analysis? Yes or no? No. Okay. Lot of applications you can do in video analysis. Okay, video analysis could be done. Okay, if you want to do an image tracking and video analysis, then you need to use mean shift clustering algorithm. Mean shift clustering algorithm for handwriting recognition. Here it takes the mean of it and shifts above. What are the algorithms we have seen till now? The first method is density based. Yes, density based we have seen with regard to the how dense the data are. Okay. In hierarchical, the two methods, agglomerative and divisive. Agglomerative is bottom-up approach, divisive is top-down approach. The partitioning, the k-means algorithm, you already know about it. It uses centroid, and the distances, you can take either Manhattan as the default when you take Skykit. Otherwise, you can use also Minkowski or Manhattan. Euclidean is the default. Sorry, Euclidean is the default. If you want to use Manhattan distance, you can use, or if you want to use what is Minkowski distance also, you can use. Okay. And grid, I said the entire thing is based into the grid, and the values are done within the grid. Okay. And you need, and also we have seen about mean shift algorithm. It takes the mean values and shifts the center ahead. Okay. And you should be very careful in defining the windows. Able to understand till now? Yes, no, no, yes. You're all there with me? Okay. Okay. The final method is distribution based. If you want to work with a distribution based method, okay, it's a clustering method. Yeah, thank you all for good responding. It's a clustering method in which we fit data on the probability. This one, if you want to work with data set, depending upon the probability, you know, the different distribution, the Gaussian distribution, the normal distribution. Okay, what distributions, the grouping, you can group your data based on distributions. This is one of the beautiful clustering algorithm which uses the probability. Okay, so wherein we can fit data based on probability. The grouping could be done using Gaussian distribution or normal distribution. These are the concepts you should have already learned about it. Gaussian distribution is more prominent, where we had fixed number of distributions and all upcoming data should fitted into the distribution make it maximized. Okay. So here, depending upon the probability distribution, the clustering is done. Okay, they're closely related to statistics. Starting itself, I said, right? And when you take clustering, is depending on statistics. Okay, here relates to the way how data sets are arranged using random sampling to fetch points. Okay, clusters can then be easily be identified as objects as they belong to which kind of distribution they are. But the major drawback of density and a boundary based approach, boundary is the centroid based, right? The density, the first method what we have seen, is specifying the clusters to some of mostly defining the shape of the cluster. This is the drawbacks of the previous method. There is at least one hypertuning which needs to be selected. In distribution based clustering, as an advantage over the distance, the centroid based and the density based, in terms of flexibility and correctness. Okay. However, here in this method works only well with synthetic data or simulated data. Okay, where I told you, right, you can also simulate your data sets. It works very well. Okay, that belong to a predefined distribution. If not, the results will overfit. You should have learned about underfitting, overfitting, and fitting of data. Okay, here one of the example algorithm is expectation maximization algorithm, which uses multivariate normal distribution, is one of the popular examples of this distribution. Here, to understand simple, this algorithm uses probability, and here the clusters are based depending upon the distribution, normal distribution, Gaussian distribution accordingly. Yes, because in density, how dense it is. Hierarchical, either one large cluster or one small cluster. The third method in partition, depending upon the distance. Fourth, grid, yes, according to the grid that has been done. And distribution method uses your probability. Able to understand, these are the core types of clustering. Still more are there. If I keep speaking, it will be boring for you, and whatever is more important I've taken. Able to understand these 5 types of clustering, the density based, depending upon the density correctness and the density boundary, in a hierarchical, agglomerative, or divisive, partition based, depending upon the distance and centroids. In grid, we take entire data sets, dividing them into grid. In distribution based, it is depending upon the probability. Any doubts regarding the theoretical part of these 5 algorithms? Able to understand? Yes. Yes. Okay. Now itself you have got the feedback. It's still 6:30, right? Okay. Yeah, replication of data will be found on the cluster. It will be the same point. If you have replication of data because you're plotting it, right, the values will be the same. It will be on the same plot. So that is not going to affect your cluster more because whatever is it, it will be on the same point. Yes. Okay. We move on to the next concept. Okay. What is the topic today? Customer based, customer market segmentation. Yes. Customer market segmentation. Okay. Clustering. Okay. Okay. Now we are going into our data set. These are the top 10 clustering algorithms. Okay. Affinity propagation, agglomerative clustering, rich, DB scan, k-means, mini batch k-means, mini shift, optics, spectral clustering, mixture of Gaussian clusters. Okay. So before moving into this, I would like to I'll take the data set and show you the demo. For that, I want to show you the mapping that I showed yesterday. Is my screen seen? Whether you're able to see in my screen? Yes. Okay. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kumudama. So yesterday I showed you, right, what should be the minimum number of samples you need to develop your machine learning model? I don't know, most of my sessions, I love asking questions and then moving on. Yeah, greater than 50, greater than 50. Thank you. Very, very attentive. I know I used to address to teachers, to students, and also corporates, and also from research, right? The more challenging always I feel with the faculties. But this time I'm blessed. I've got a good set of faculties who are really listening to it and you're answering it. Okay. Okay. Now, today we are into the clustering technique. Listen carefully. Okay. See, I'm going to start. The value should be more than 50. I'm going to predict a category. Yes. Okay. Do I have labeled data? If labeled, I go on for classification. No. I don't have a I'm going to work with unlabeled data. So today our concept is clustering. So coming to number of categories, no. If I know the number of categories, yes. If I know how many number of categories, that is the k value, and the values are less than 10k, the number of samples less than 10k, then I go for mini batch k-means. The number of rows, okay, is less than 10k. If the data are more than 10k, then I go for k-means. Okay, if k-means is not working, then I go for spectral clustering or GM. All right. If I don't know, if I don't know the number of categories and my values are more than 10k, I can go for mean shift. I told you, right? How do you do the mean shift? VBGMM. Okay, VBGMM. If I don't know the things and my values are also less than, then what it is saying? Tough luck. Okay, it says tough luck. GMM, it stands for Gaussian mixture model. Okay, Gaussian mixture model. Okay, I have not taken those because this itself, because some of you would be new and knowing the basic concepts is what I've taken. What are the most important things? Okay. Okay, so according to your number of samples, okay, you need to work on with the type of clustering algorithm. Okay. Ma'am, this is differing. The editors usually say, yeah, this is a minimum thing. But whenever we are going to work on the data set, I always say take at least 3 data sets. If one minimum data set should be at least 70,000 or 55,000, the next could be maybe around a lakh. Okay, and then the next could be like 4 or 5 lakhs. Okay, like that you need to have a data set to work on. This is given by SkyKit. That's what I'm showing it to you. But generally, I always prefer people to use the first data set should be like 5,000, then about 70 or lakh, and then more than that. So when you develop an algorithm, you need to develop it with more number of data sets, at least with 3 sets of data. At least with 3 sets of data. Okay. Okay, so before showing that, I'm just showing to you what are the top clustering methodologies. Top clustering methodologies: agglomerative, affinity propagation, BIRCH, DB-scan, K-means, mini K-means, mean shift, optics. I told you we take DB-scan, so it is type of DCP, right? Spectral clustering and mixture of Gaussian. That is what GMM. Okay. Okay, now coming to your application. Okay, customer segmentation. So even if you take, we can also segment the people. Okay, listening to this FDP now. Okay, how many are listening? How many are not listening? How many are partially listening? I can segment it to 3 depending upon the dresses that I get. Okay, so customer segmentation is a subdivision of a market into discrete customer group that share similar characteristics. Okay, that share similar characteristics. So some people, whenever I'm asking questions, right? So maybe by the end of today's my session, the last session with you, I know some names like Ambika ma'am, Bharanidharan sir, Surya ma'am, Shashireka sir ma'am, Kumuda ma'am, Gomati ma'am, Jayaraj sir, and also depend upon the timing. See, some of them will be answering because it's a 2.5 hour session. Some people will be answering from the start till the end. So we know what kind of participants are. Okay, so some of them will be silent listeners. Okay, and that cluster is very difficult to find. They are listening, but they are not responding to any of the queries. Some of them, they sort of switched on this session and they will be doing some other work. So it's very difficult to demarcate between these two clusters. Only when there is an interaction, we'll be able to do it. Okay, so it's a subdivision of market into, today we are going to say about customer segmentation, into discrete customer groups that share similar characters. Okay, it can be to identify what is the unsatisfied customer needs. Okay, so whenever whatever is the kind of business, okay, knowing about identifying the unsatisfied customer, okay, that's more important. Okay, how many of your college you have faculty feedback by the students? Do you have? You all said, right? You all said what kind of teacher you were in the starting of the session. Whether in your college where you're working, do you have feedback given by the students? Okay, what kind of feedback do the students give to you? Yes, the ratings. Yes. So when I had been the head of the department of a college, so when we developed a feedback mechanism, the first criterion I said is that student should have listened to the particular course. At least 75% of attendance should be there. That is the first criterion, because that time it was not virtual, right? It was physical. Only those students are allowed to give the feedback. Okay, so for me, many HODs will be there. For us, the feedback of faculty given by the students is the most important factor. Okay, so now also it is there. Okay, so I will define, when I was there, I defined this rule. A student who has listened to the particular course, say for example there are 6 courses, for every course, if the student has attended 75% of the class, only will be given, no OD and all, only if they have listened to the teacher's session, only will be allowed to give, and we have got different criteria to give, right? So that is an example of questioning. So at the end of it, when I see the report, I know, because we give the email and the proper link to the students only for those who have got it. Okay, so with that, we'll be able to analyze what kind of teachers you are. So same thing, K-means could be used. Okay, so it's a subdivision of market. So why I'm taking our live examples that will trigger your mind to develop some models for your institution or for research or whatever it is. Okay, so and the most common way, okay, demographic. Okay, how do you do a segment demographic, such as a gender, age, okay, then the marital status, the income, education, and occupation. Okay, how, and then demographic information. Okay, so people of the same sector, how do they behave, and what kind of customers they are with their income, expenditure, and the education sectors. Okay, so last April I started this training teachers, the faculties how to take online classes. I have a course. Okay, when I started, many people started coming into the course. Okay, so we were able to find what is the need and give the training. Almost like 4,000 to 5,000 teachers we have trained. Most of them, they don't even know how to have an email, but by the grace of God we were able to train them. Okay, so according to the business segment, to the customer need, geographical information, scope of the company. Okay, according to the location, the business should be progressed. Okay, and customer city, psychography. Okay, and such as social classes, lifestyle, behavioral thing. I'll show you a demo of my company's analytics. Okay, behavioral data, how do they spend? Today I'm going to take about the behavioral data. I'm going to take about the behavioral data and I'm going to show to you. Okay, so it determines appropriate product pricing. Which range where the sale is more, you can have, but you can buy more products onto the range. Developing customized marketing campaigns. Okay, and designing an optimal distribution strategy. Okay, specifying the product features for deployment. Prioritizing new product development efforts. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay. Okay. So we are going to see, I showed you, right, different thing. We are going to take behavioral data, okay, and demographic and geographical data for showing the localized business, okay, for large companies. How many of you remember my company's website? I'll post it onto the chat. Okay, before that, this is a simple Google Analytics done. I'm also taking a course on digital marketing. Okay, how do you set up it? I'm redesigning my website, our company's website, because we are collaborating with university for the courses. Okay, so can you see the analytics? Okay, I can show you. This is a type of clustering. Okay, say for example, from April. Okay, from April. Can you see my screen? Yeah, CIRF.co.in. Okay, I'm applying to the range. How many people have seen my website? Okay, there is no target variable. There is no win or loss. Okay, I can see what is the range I've given from April 1 to June 29. Okay, so I can see here how many new visitors, how many have visited my website. 1355. You're able to see in my screen? Ah, yes, thank you, ma'am. And new visitors are this much. Okay, 196 new visitors, and sorry, returning visitors, which means one will be my, I always visit it. We are redesigning it now. Okay, and see, according to the demography, it has been clustered. Can you see? According to the demographics. Okay, so throughout that, like how many people have seen, from which country, I will show. Can you see? From India, in India, 963 has seen my website. In US, 89, 18 from Brazil. What kind it is? A clustering, depending upon my demographics. Okay, and from which city also could be seen. So it's an analytics of the audience. Okay, now take 1 or 2 minutes. I'll post my, I'll show. Sometimes you see how it is possible. Okay, I'll show you in real time a demo now, how this clustering works. Okay, I'm showing real time. Okay, can you see on the screen? Real time overview. It is getting loaded. Right now, how many people are there onto my website? 0. Now you're either using laptop or mobile. Okay. Just click this link, cirf.co.in. Let me show you. I want everybody, like 86 people are there. Just click the link. If you want, you can traverse over it. Yeah, one of them have joined. I don't know anything about it, but I can see that particular person is from Chennai. Okay, the particular person is from Chennai. Yeah, 2 of them have joined. I want everybody quickly join, please. I'm not doing anything. It does the analytics. Just click the link. The 2 of them are on the home page. You can start traversing to different pages also. Yeah, 3 of them have joined. Okay, Kalai Selvi ma'am, nice to see you. All are from Chennai. Just click the link. Yeah, one of them they have changed onto research page. One of them they are into the training session page. I don't know whom you are. Quick, yeah, 6, 7. I'll give you one few more minutes. Quick, 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 quick. Just click the page. Out of 8, 6 of you are into the home page, 2 of you, one in research page, one in training page. It automatically runs and clusters it accordingly. Yes, one of them are into training session, one into training program, one into research, and other 6 are into the home page. Yeah, people are moving into home, interns page. Yes. Okay. Can you see? I'm not using both my hands are here. Okay. So this is how it is getting clustered. I don't know if everybody, all are from Chennai. Anybody outside Chennai here into this? Can I just give a click? So it will also show from the space. Okay. So people have started moving to different pages, right? Can you see? Can you see? And also it gives me the count. 5, 2 into home, 2 into implant, 1 into interns, research, this and that, and 16 of you have joined. Are seeing my website right now. Trichy, Bangalore. Okay. So this is how it is done. It could be, see, this is also a level of clustering, which page, who is seeing, and from which location. Okay. Nice, 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 nice. Hyderabad is Jayaraj sir is from outside India. He's from Botho University. Okay. Okay. So without wasting much of our time, we'll move on to our collab. Okay. 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 First, I will show you my data set, how it is, and then we'll go one by one. Okay. You're able to see the presentation? So I showed you an example for demographic, the geographical location, the Google Analytics, how the customers are segmented. Today we are going to see about behavior. Okay. And so what is this? It's a, how many of you visited here? Mall, yeah. We are going to see how are you going to, now this pandemic, no mall. And though we go to mall to buy things or not, we just go to mall to see what are the shops are there. It was a recreation center, but don't know, this pandemic has stopped it. Okay. So I'm going to take a customer, mall customer. It's a very interesting data set, that is hypothetical customer data. So, okay, it has an hypothetical customer data. All right. So it has, what are the columns? Yeah, window shopping is Varnidhar answer. It puts you in the shoes of the owners of supermarket. Imagine that you are now imagining, yesterday I told you, imagine yourself to be a data scientist. You are deployed in a hospital where the cardiologist comes and gives you the data. Now you put yourself in the shoes of owner of a supermarket. You have the customer data, and on the basis of the data, our objective is to define the customers into various groups. Okay, we have to divide the customers into various groups. So there are five columns. Okay, the 5 attributes. One is the customer ID, other is the customer gender, the third is customer age, and the fourth is annual income of the customer, that is in $1,000. Okay, that is in $1,000. And the fifth is spending score, based on the customer behavior and spending nature. Okay, what is the behavior of the customer and what is spending nature? Can you understand? These are the 5 columns. Okay, ID, I'm not going to use anything to do my clustering, because that is not a valid feature. Gender, age, annual income, spending score. So first, when I take a data set, this is a sample data set. Okay, customer ID, the gender of the customer, the age, the annual income, and the spending score. When you develop any model, classification of clustering model, what is the first step we need to do it? We need to, what we should know? We need to first analyze the data. Okay, to analyze the data, what is the package that we saw yesterday to do data analysis? Pandas, yes, correct. Okay, Python for data analysis. Okay, so I'm importing the data set. Is it very small? Can I zoom it a little bit? Okay, thank you. Okay. So I've taken this data set. You're able to see. I'm zooming it a little bit. Hope you're able to see. Okay. I'm importing NumPy as NP, Pandas as PD, Matplotlib as PLT, and importing Seaborn as SNS. Okay. So from my Google Drive, I have already mounted it and kept. Okay. I have already mounted, kept. So the 5 columns. Okay, what are the 5 columns? The customer ID, the gender, the age, okay, gender, the age, the annual income, and the spending score. So using my pandas, I'm taking my CSV and loading into this variable called DF. What would be my type of DF? It is data frame. Okay, it is data frame. So I'm using different data frame attributes. What is the shape? It's 200 rows and 5 columns. What are the column names? df.columns. Okay. Then what are the data types? Only gender is object. Others are all, because others are all integers only. Okay. You know, head of, tail of. Okay. And also we saw about how to find the uniques, the minimum, bad, maximum, the descriptive analytics. Okay. So for if you want to do a descriptive analytics, df dot describe of. Okay. So what do you understand from this? I told for categorical data, it will not work. The gender is a categorical data, so it doesn't work. So from this, you can find there is no missing value. The mean value of age, so the mean average is 38. The annual income people are coming to the mall is 60 in dollars, $1,000. Okay, and it is the spending score is 50. Low spending score, they spend low. When the spending score is high, they spend high. Okay, what is the minimum age of this people in this data set? So it is 18 and the maximum is 70. The top 25%, 50 and 75%. So I'm dropping my customer ID because that is not going to be of any use for me. Okay, because the for clustering I'm not, and also you should be very careful for what you do. Say for example, you want to find the student, whether the student will pass or for that ID. The student ID is an important factor. Okay, but the marks would be the according to it. Okay, whenever if the ID is not needed. Okay, depends upon the specific applications. Okay, specific applications, then you need to do it. I'm plotting a graph using Seaborn. I'm plotting a Weiland graph. So I'm only taking in Weiland graph, Weiland plot. I'm taking only my y-axis as age. Okay, y as age. Okay, what do you understand from this graph? Answers on chat, or you can unmute and say. Thank you, Gomadi ma'am. What do you understand from this graph? Sorry. What do you understand from this graph? Depending upon the age you plot, yeah, exactly said. Maximum people are between 30 to 40 are the people who are visiting this small. Okay, it's not a mirror image from the data set. Okay, the age, the minimum is 16, I said, the maximum is 70. Accordingly, the range of people are coming to this mark. Thank you, ma'am. And the next I'm going to plot, this is called exploratory data analysis, which is called EDA, which is more important for any analysis. It's classification or clustering or regression. First and foremost, you need to understand the data. Okay, first you need to understand the data. Okay, so now I'm taking in Y plot as annual income. I'm doing a subplot. Okay, I'm doing a subplot. Okay, I'm doing a subplot here. One is spending score, one is annual income. Okay, so what my minimum and maximum spending score, and then what do you understand from this graph? Answers on chat, or you can unmute and say. When you see this graph, what do you understand from this? Using very, very simple box plot. Yes. Average is 50, yeah. Maximum spending score is around, yeah. Okay. The minimum and the maximum scores. Okay, the minimum and the maximum scores. Okay, annual income 40 to 80 are the people who are coming to this mall, and spending score they spend a little less than 40 and little more than 60. Okay, box plot. Okay, so yeah, the minimum and the maximum. Next, I'm trying to do no, this is for the class that I've done. subplots, and I have to check whether is there any null. Okay, is it null? Okay, for missing values. Thank you all for your good responses. You're almost to end. It is using C-bond, ma'am. It is using C-bonds, Vinitha, ma'am. Okay, and only one category factor is gender. Okay, male or female. So using gender value counts. Yesterday I did target value counts. You remember? Same thing. We are doing how many male or female. What do you understand from this graph? From the small customer graph segmentation? Female purchase more female customer, but I'm getting all answers from male. Okay, only one female. Okay, more female going to mall. Yes. Okay, done. It is a well-known open secret, right? Even this data set also reassures us the same. Okay, and I'm grouping it between ages. The minimum is 16 and maximum is 70. I am trying to group it with ages so to know which age group people are more. Okay, which age group people are there. Okay, so I'm grouping it using 18 to 25 as one group. I'm clustering it 26 to 35, 36 to 45, 46 to 55. So according to that, then I'm plotting the graph. Okay, so what do you understand from this? X-axis contains their age and Y-axis contains the number of customers. What do you understand from this? Yeah, so quick in answering. 26 to 35, people are more coming to the mall, having more customers. So you can think of having the products for them more, okay, to reach your products more. All right. So these writing inference is more important, okay, more important. And now I'm going to show you same way I've grouped it between more number of customers. Thank you, Sasirika ma'am. Thank you everyone who are actively answering. Okay, spending scores between 1 to 20 minimum. They don't spend at all. Okay, 21 to 40, 41 to 60, 61, 81 to 100. I'm going to see, I'm splitting up according to the spending scores. So which spending score is more? Which means the spending score of 41 to 60. So you can, if you want to increase your revenue, then you can increase it between 41 to 60. Okay. Or if you want to increase 21 to 40, you can give more offers for between the spending rate 21 to 40. Then that range of products could be increased to increase it. Okay. So I'm just trying to rename the column. Okay. And then we have done it for spending score. We have done it for age. The next column, I'm trying to do it for annual income. So what do you understand? People between, yes. What is your understanding from this? Yes, 60 to 90. Whosoever is earning between 60 to 90, the customers are more. See, those are earning lot or spending less. Number of customers are less. Those are spending on the average, it is more. Okay, 0 to 300, it is more. 30,000 to 60,000, the number of customers 60, but more number of customers are between $60,000 and $9,000. Okay, so the people, ma'am, how many spending score is how much the people are spending the scores. Less the scores, they spend less. More the score, more less. Okay. But more salary, less only their number of customers are very less. Okay. Annual income means what is the income for a year? How much do they earn? The customers from the data set, how much they earn per year. Okay. That is the annual income. Okay. So with the reference, The same plot but different colors. Okay. So this is all the understanding of your data. You do a data analysis. That's more important when you take any data and finding the correlation of it. And here I said, right, we need to know about the distribution of data. So I'm finding the distribution of data using dist plot. Can you see? I said its minimum is 60 there with reference to the annual income. Okay. So how in this data set they are distributed. Okay. Same way the distribution of age. So you can see between this range people are more. You can group it and do it, or you can do a dist plot also, the distribution plots. Just to show you different types of plots for visualization. In code, you have to set, ma'am, the DF of the column name, the data frame name of the column name. So I said, right, 40 to 60 people are more. Distribution of spending score, it is more. Okay. Okay. Now coming into the K means, the first foremost challenge is to how to define the number of K. Okay. So here we are defining a variable called WCSS, which is called within cluster sum of squares. Within cluster sum of squares. So I'm giving a range of K between 1 to 10. See our elbows, right, where there is a bend. Same way, when you have a bend on it, that defines the number of cluster. So here I'm taking K means the WCSS. I'm declaring a variable as list. Okay. I'm computing the K means value. Okay. And I'm plotting it into this graph. I'm plotting it into this graph where I have an elbow kind either 3 or 5 or 6. Okay. So accordingly, you'll be able to work on with the different set of K values. Okay. Different set of K values. Can you see here? Within cluster sum of squares, the value, as number of clusters increases, the WCS value decreases. Okay. K denotes the number of clusters. K denotes the number of clusters. Okay. You're able to see what is your understanding from this? Okay. So you can give number of, say for example, instead of I've given K value as a range of 1 to 10. If I give 1 to 20, you can see the K values will be more. Okay. Oh yeah. For plotting also I should have given 1 to 20, a range of, sorry. Okay. And then minute. Oh, here for plotting also I should have given. If I change here, I should change on everywhere. The for loop and the plotting and the range. Can you see here? I'm getting 1 to 20. If I want to change it to 5, I can change it to 5. Okay. So I'm changing it to 10. What I already had. Okay, WCSS stands for within cluster sum of squares. Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am. It's a very, very simple data set you can get. Okay. And this is the value of WCSS. Give me a minute. Okay. I had it as a list, right? So I'm just running this WCSS, the weighted cluster sum of squares. Okay. So now I'm say for example, I'm taking the cluster as 6. Okay. I'm using a 3-dimensional plot. Before I compute this, I'll come to 2-dimensional. and then I'll show you the 3-dimensional. Okay. So what are the factors we have? The age, the gender. I'm not using the gender, age, spending score, and annual income. Those 3 are the integer columns. Okay. I'm going to use, okay, age, spending score, excess. I'm taking only 1 and 2, which is the annual income and the spending score. Okay, only the annual income and the spending score, only 2-dimensional. With that, I'm making a 6 clusters. Okay, can you see here the cluster heads? The yellow color is the centroids. How many colors are there? Blue is 1, black is 2, red is 3, pink is 4, green is 5, and blue is 6. So 6 clusters and the centroids. Okay, and the centroids. These are the cluster heads. Okay, these are the cluster heads. And same way, I'm trying to do it for a 3-dimensional. Here, there I took only age, income, sorry, annual income and spending score. Here, can you see this 3-dimensional? I'm taking the age, annual income, and spending score. Okay, how many clusters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 clusters. So here, with this, what do you understand? When their annual income is more, the spending score is between this range. Okay, when their annual income is there, and what is their spending scores? Okay, age, annual income, and spending score. Able to understand? I've just taken, we have done a very, very simple k-means. I told you, right? I will show you. What are the other types of clustering algorithms we have seen? Okay. And the density based. I'll show you for the same data set, DB scan, hierarchical both, okay, agglomerative and Dyna, and then mean shift, okay, k-means, okay. Mounting the same data set, already it is mounted. Okay, first the same data set, whatever. Yeah, grid I have not worked on for this. Okay, whatever I worked on, I can show to you. Okay, again I need to mount it. So we have seen about, I'll show you now density based, mean shift, that is DB scan for the same data set, mean shift, hierarchical, and the k-means already what we have done. Any doubts? Somebody's mic is on. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. And you need to practice when you come into listening. You can understand the concept, but as faculties, though you have completed research or not, your hands-on experience is more and more important. Okay, so okay, so it's getting mounted. Yeah, it's mounted. The same data set. Okay, the same data set. Here, I'm renaming it. Okay, annual income to income and score to score. And see, here again, we are doing a explore pair plot. Okay, with customer ID and gender I've dropped. Only the integer values I'm doing a pair plot. Age, annual income and score. Age, annual income and score. Okay. Able to understand how, but I've given my hue as this. So how are they correlated? Mostly it is overlapping. Mostly it is overlapping. See, male and female, the age and most of this, it's overlapping. Okay. And then now the partition based. So from this I can see gender has no direct relationship. Gender has no direct relationship for clustering. That's why I'm dropping a customer ID and gender. Okay, I'm dropping my customer ID and gender, and I'm plotting the plot. Why? Because it's all overlapping for clustering. That is, can you see here annual income, some dense placed or also there. Okay, so in partition based clustering, same thing. The WCS is searching for elbow, which elbow should be used, and this is inertia. WCSS is also called as k-means inertia within cluster, which possible 3 or 5. Okay, and then I'm creating a visualization plot. Okay, of I'm fitting my k-means to value 3. So if my value is 3, my clusters are like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 value could be better. So when I make my k-means to be of 5, so here it's more clear. Able to understand the difference between when the k is 3, when the k is 5? Yes? Yes, no, no, yes? Okay. And also, so by judging, we could say 5 cluster is more better. So what is labeled 0? People with low income, low spending, high income, high spending accordingly. When the income is high, their spending score is also high. Can you see here? See, first label, it is low, spending score is low. Second label, the score is high. Okay. And the third label accordingly. Okay, accordingly. If I want to increase, okay, we don't have much time. Okay, I'll just show you the figure plots. Okay, labeling according to annual income using swarm plots. This already. Now I told you, right? Agglomerate. Okay, the bottom up approach. Okay, dendrons we can use. We use dendrons, the linkage between it. Okay, X labels. Okay, with 5 clusters. Okay, agglomerative with 5 clusters. Agglomerative clustering. So I'm trying to do dendrogram, it is called, which takes the value between linkage method of the same class, minimizing the distance. So I'm using the distance matrix, okay, the bottom up approach, and then I'm trying to link it. I'm taking the hierarchy, distance matrix, and completing the linkage. And can you see how many dendrograms from the bottom to the top, one cluster? Can you see onto the dendrogram? Each variable, how they are associated, okay, dendrogram and till the top, okay, until one cluster, okay. And now the distance with the average. Same dendrogram with the distance variable as an average. Then I told you about the same data set density. You remember I told you about epsilon, the radius, and the minimum samples. So this is using DB scan. See, it doesn't perform well because the density is not strong. Can you see? Red color is there here and there, here and there. So it is not a very good algorithm for this mean shift. Okay, mean shift, shifting the mean. The bandwidth is not set. It's okay, but somewhere it is outside. Okay, according to this data set, I said for customer segmentation, k-means is the best. So I'm just visualizing all the plots together, the k labels, the k-means, the k-means, the DB scan, the mean shift, and the agglomerative clustering. Okay, and the agglomerative clustering. So these are the data sets. Okay, we have taken the data set and I showed you how to work with k-means, the visualizations. All right. Okay, and then I showed you what are the different algorithms. For k-means, the hierarchical, the DB scan and mean shift, and the comparison of it. Okay, when you want to do the performance metrics, okay, you cannot use the classification. I don't consider your book for her. The metrics you cannot use like confusion matrix, precision, F and score to for clustering methodology. For clustering methodology, it has got its own performance metrics. Okay, it has got its own performance metrics. Silhouette score, K elbow visualizer, inter cluster distance mapping. Okay, for the K means. Okay, for the data set that I have already showed you how we have done the exploratory data analysis, and then K means. Okay, I'm going to show you how the performance metrics has been done. Okay, performance metrics. Yeah, I showed you, right? DB scan, not good for customer segmentation. Okay, for this particular data set. Okay, silhouette score measures how well our data is being, how well the data are assigned to its own cluster. Okay, I think I need to run it from first. Okay. Whether you learn something new, the way you come in is not the way that you go out. I said, whether you learned about clustering, participants. After this, we are going to get ready for the quiz. It was good to see you, speak with you, share a little knowledge with you for the past 2 days, and you will have beautiful sessions. Yes, sir. And then you learned something new. You can say if you want to unmute. What are the new concepts you have learned yesterday and today? Okay, I'm getting it set up. I'm not going for the plotting. I don't want this grouping since I have renamed it. Okay, these are for visualization. Yes. Okay, I don't want visualization. Yeah, I want to run the k-means. All right. Yeah. 4 and 6. The 3-dimensional. Because age, annual income, and spending score. 3D graph of it. Okay. This is the 2D graph. And this is silhouette scores. Okay, silhouette scores from silhouette samples and silhouette scores when my value n is 6. Okay, when my value n is 6, what is my silhouette score? The lesser is good. Okay, it should be close to 1. Means when the silhouette score is close to 1, which means the data points are correct. Okay, the data points are correct. When the silhouette score is close to -1, means your cluster, whatever value that you've defined for the cluster is wrong. Okay, silhouette scores. And when my cluster is 3, I'm making my cluster as 3. Can you see it is 0.4? When my cluster n is 6, it is 0.2. I said, right? So I'm using a K elbow visualizer. One minute, I have defined A somewhere. I have not, yeah, see, I have not run it. That's what I get an error there. Okay, I'll show you. Silhouette score, that's one of the metric. This is a visualizer. K elbow visualizer. Okay, close to 1. Okay, so when the K value is 6, it is close to 1. It's a good Silhouette score. Okay, and this is a K-elbow visualizer. And the next is the third matrix is inter-cluster distance map. Okay, clustering into dimensionals. Okay, I'll just show you this and then conclude. One of you, could you recap what we have seen from the start about clustering? Yeah, it's a performance matrix for clustering. We are going to play the game now. Okay, I'll share the link to you. Kindly join fast. Okay, I posted the link to the chat. You told her the OTP?
778 correct.
Google book panna. It's all okay. That's okay. Okay, I hope you are all joining in soon. As the same tool, I'm using it, so it should be easy for you. Okay, waiting for players. Yeah. Can you see my screen? Oh, so fast. 18 of you have joined. Yeah, quiz is open. So since I opened Colab 1, 2 and Google Slides. Yeah, the first question. Target variable is not available in? Yeah. 9.5 classification, regression or clustering. Very good. 15 of you have given the right answer. Come into Menti and give the answers. Don't give the answers on chat. I'm going to read it through. Yes, Jaya ma'am is the fastest and Muhammad sir is in the second place. Vinita ma'am in the third place. Second question for the day. வந்துருங்க location. Which algorithm method is used for customer segmentation? Density, centroid or distribution? வந்துருங்க நான் மீட்டிங்ல இருக்கேன். It is centroid. I said right, K means comes under centroid based. Customer segmentation. Example that we have seen. Yeah, Vinita ma'am in the first place and she is the fastest. Second is Komadi ma'am and third is Jaya ma'am. Clustering is a method of very, very simple question. I know hopefully everybody should give me the correct answer. It's supervised learning or unsupervised learning or hybrid supervised learning? Yes. Yes, 23 of you have given the right answer. Well done. And the challenges was given the fastest. Let's see. Vinitha ma'am. Okay, still on the first place. Jaya ma'am on the second place. Mohammed sir on to the third place. Jairaj sir, you are the fastest. The fourth question. No, why did you go there calling from Uber? Don't go stand. Be here. Give me the mobile back. Which clustering method is used for sequencing DNA? Remember, I told sequencing DNA. Is it centroid based or hierarchical based or mean shift? The questions are tough. I don't know. Well done. Yes. Very good listeners. Hierarchical clustering. Vinitha ma'am, come on. Okay, Jaya ma'am, you are on the first place. Vinitha ma'am, second place. Mohammed sir on to the third place. Ravi sir, you are the fastest in this round. I think we are going into the final question for the day. Which of the following is not the performance metrics of clustering algorithm? Read to the question carefully and give the answer. Which of the following is not the performance metrics of clustering algorithms? Well done. Yeah, it is confusion matrix. It is for classification. Silhouette and interdistance is for clustering. So we're going to see who is going to be the winner. All right. Congratulations, Vinitha ma'am. You are the winner today. Second place, it is Mohammed sir. Third is Bharanidharan sir. Fourth, Piyush sir. Fifth, Jaya ma'am. Komati ma'am, you're fastest on the final round. And Surya ma'am, the next place. Sasireka ma'am, the following place. Sumana ma'am, the following place. And following Akila ma'am. Congratulations. Congratulations. Hope you should have enjoyed the session exactly. Yeah, your feedback about your clustering methods workshop that we have seen today. Okay, informative. Thank you. Good. Yes, sir. Piyush, sir. You can also unmute and speak, whether you learn something.
Your sessions are always informative, ma'am. And by God's grace, we are lucky to have you. And I never miss any chance whenever there are no classes or any other work. So I definitely attend your sessions.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Piyush, sir. Thank you. I
think after many years, I have found a good teacher who can whose class I don't miss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Myself, Vinitha, madam, actually. So what sir told is surely 100% it's correct, ma'am. I'm a fan of your teaching, actually. So you teach excellently, and we could able to follow all the concepts. Really excellent session, ma'am. As sir told, I don't want to miss any of the sessions. If I come to know that you are conducting a FDP or webinar in any of the colleges, either through your status or somehow, if I come to know, I will not miss your sessions.
Thank you, sir.
Sessions will be interesting and informative. So that's why I don't want to miss any of your sessions. Excellent session, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
And ma'am, in yesterday's quiz, because of one or two questions to answer quickly, I lost the quiz. Today somehow I made it fourth question, and at the last question my hands were shivering, but I wanted to somehow impress you. So luckily I finished at fourth.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
I didn't get the link only, ma'am, to join. Actually, I missed the link.
Okay. Thank you.
Past 1.5 hours I was traveling.
Okay.
But still I didn't miss, and here and there. So somehow the test also from the 16th place I managed to come to the 10th place. So somehow it is there. So such a wonderful session it is.
Thank
So
you.
I believe because YouTube is there, so I think I can practice it in a slow pace.
Sure, sure, sure.
Is it possible, ma'am, for the data set link? And
Yeah, data set I will be shared. It's a very simple
this
data set.
file.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for listening. Just share my contact details if you are interested. You can get it if you go to YouTube, you get it. Wherever you go, you get it. So learn. If you want anything support for you to enrich, you can contact me. Okay. So we give like 20 hours course, 40 hours course for a group and also for faculty members. And for students for the internship, very useful. After that, they work on a live project, and in addition, we teach them how to develop web app for the machine learning. Okay, and if you have any research projects, anything, you could contact us. Thank you all. God bless you. Thank you, Adeline ma'am. Thank you, Department of IT, Sairam College, Engineering College, the entire management for having given me the opportunity to share the knowledge with you. God bless you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Have a great time. Thank you so much. Pray for us.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
The
ma'am.
third day of 5 days virtual FDP on research perspectives on data science is done effectively by our speaker, Dr. D Doreen Robin. She took a brief and informative webinar on the topic clustering customer market segmentation and gave many examples on clustering in real world, about DB, about the methods of clustering, behavioral data in customer segmentation, and explain everything clearly and effectively and help everyone understand the concept easily. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, ma'am.
We kindly request all the participants to fill the feedback form given in the chat box. Kindly check it and fill it up.
These 2 days, today's session, I'm posting it onto the chat. The YouTube link, anybody, if you're interested, you could view to it and give your comments also. Classification and clustering link onto the chat. Thank you all. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Recording stopped.